What's going on YouTube? My name is ginj-tcg or Chris, and today I'm back with another crazy evolution deck that I had a ton of fun cooking up, and it is going to revolve around Jolteon EX and Leafeon EX. Jolteon has a free retreat, 260 HP, quick setup attacker with the flashing spear attack. You do 60 damage, and then you can discard 2 basic energy cards from your bench Pokemon, doing 90 more damage for each energy you discarded in this way, allowing you to swing 240 damage very nicely, KOing many of the big basic EXs that are dominating the format right now and setting you up for success for 2 shots against some of the biggest stage 2 attackers such as Dragapult and Charizard. Hitting for with electric attackers also nice into decks like Lugia, because then you've got you know, weakness on your advantage, which means you're KOing Lugias left and right, and that's free 2 prize cards, so you know, we're rocking with that. Leafeon is what I thought to be one of the best partners for the Jolteon deck. With the Verdant Storm attack, you do 60 damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. So if your opponent is playing a deck where they get a lot of energy into play, you can swing for massive KOs with Leafeon, or if you're up against Charizard EX and they have 3 energy in play, because of weakness, you will also swing for one-shot KOs. So not only can you take massive one-shots on 2 of the best decks that are out right now, Lugia with Jolteon, but you can also take down Charizard with Leafeon very well. And I know you're probably thinking, okay, but how are we accelerating energy to use Jolteon that effectively every single turn? Well, since we're playing a bunch of grass energy, I figured let's pair it with Teal Mask Ogerpon, the Pokemon that can naturally get a bunch of energy. It's very similar to Raging Bull in the sense where this Pokemon is here to draw cards, yes, but also get energy into play and discard it, because it's very, very easy to just get back and keep attacking with. So it sets up nicely with Jolteon, and since we're playing grass energy for Ogerpon, I figured, hey, you know what? Leafeon's a solid attacker. Am I ever going to be using Mossagate or Dravite? No, I don't play the energy for that in this deck. I've only got 5 electric energy and 9 grass energy, so those will be the energy counts I am rocking with. Now for the rest of the deck, I am playing one of my favorite Radiants ever created, Radiant Venusaur. A very underrated Radiant in my opinion. I think it's got a solid backup attack with Pollen Hazard. You can swing for 90 and burn, confuse, and poison your opponent's active Pokemon. But more importantly, you have the Sunny Bloom ability, which can help draw cards in your hand. If you played a hand down to like 1 or 0 cards, most of the time you're relying on a top deck. Your opponent's not going to Iono you because you don't have a hand worthwhile to do that. So with Sunny Bloom at the end of that amazing turn that we're talking about, you'll draw up until you have 4 cards in your hand, which means you're off to a better start on the following turn. We're pairing this deck with Fezandipiti EX. This is our only like on-turn draw engine, because we got Sunny Bloom, which technically happens after your turn. So we got Fezandipiti for some draw in the middle game. We've got some Eevees to evolve into our evolutions. That's pretty much it for Pokemon. Now to jump into the trainers and supporters. I talked about the energy count. I like our energy count. I think it's very consistent. Just in case for tools, we're playing Counter Gain, so we can attack for potentially 1 energy if we're behind in prize cards with Leafeon and Jolteon. That's going to be massive, as well as TM Evolution and TM Turbo Energize. And the benefit of this card is it allows us to get energy and evolution Pokemon in play if our opponent is running Badoo and puts us under item lock. We have ways to evolve and get energy in play very, very quickly. We're playing an extremely high count of Arven. We got 4 counts of Arven and 2 counts of Iono. Those are our consistency supporters for this deck. Arven will get us the item and tool card needed. If we can't play item cards because of Badoo, we could always take it, but take TM Turbo, Energize, or Evolution, both of which will allow us to set up. So I definitely like the heavy Arven engine, and 2 Iono just for, you know, maybe an early game we need a better hand or a late game hand disruption. We got 2 copies of Boss's Orders, as well as Prime Catcher for Gust. I really like Prime Catcher because this deck hits for very specific numbers, so to prize map effectively and to gust up what you need to take 2 prize cards a turn is going to be huge with a deck like this. We're also playing 1 copy of Briar, since pretty much 95 or more % of our Pokemon are terrestrialized Pokemon, with the exception of like Radiant Venusaur. And then we got 1 copy of Crispin, which I also like just to get some more energy into play. Honestly, could potentially be a 3rd Iono. I like Crispin. Every now and then it does kind of clutch up and allow you to get some extra energy into play. We've got 1 stadium, which is Artazon, which is there to set up our bench, but also just a decent stadium bump if we need. We're playing 3 copies of Nest Ball and 2 Buddy-Buddy Poffins, because we don't need an insane amount of Eevees in play, but we need more Nest Balls to get out our Ogerpons, our Fezandipitis, and Radiant Venusaur. We are playing 4 copies of Ultra Ball, though, to make sure that I can search all the Pokemon previously mentioned, as well as any evolution, being Leafeon or Jolteon, needed. Now, for energy recovery, this is where things get a little bit scary. We got 1 Rod, 1 Night Stretcher. Honestly, During my testing games, I really would have rathered like a second rod potentially in the deck, so I might cut out one of my 3 energy switch for a rod. It depends on the first 2 games go in this recording. If I'm still like, man, I wish I had another rod, we'll make sure that the updated deck list is in the description with 2 copies of rod. But that is the biggest switch that I'm kind of like on the fence of right now, just because we are using Jolteon to get rid of potentially a lot of energy, so we want to make sure our recovery is there. And right now it could be a little bit better, but I definitely like the 3 copies of energy switch, because what it allows you to do is it allows you, on turn 2, let's say, right? You evolve into Jolteon, you use Teal Dance on Ogerpon to get an energy down, you manual attach the electric energy from hand, and then use energy switch to move that energy onto Jolteon, and now Jolteon is set up in 1 turn without Crispin. So energy switch has been one of my favorite cards in this deck. I think it really does help it flow, and it really brings Radiant Venusaur as a surprise backup attacker to the match so effectively. But depending on how much you use Jolteon when playing this deck, again, a second rod might be necessary. We'll see how the first 2 matches go, and we'll see if I make that change going into the 3rd match. For now, though, I think the only other card I forgot to mention is Earthen Vessel. It's self-explanatory. You get your grass energy for Ogerpon, your electric energy for Jolteon, and you could discard a card, which, you know, helps thin out cards. I mean, yeah, it's just a great energy search. It's definitely better than energy search. I haven't seen decks use that in a while. Earthen Vessel is definitely the way to go, because you get 2 energy cards. And they could be different types, so you can set up both Pokemon very well. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it for the list. I hope you guys enjoy it. It is kind of, it's a fun combo. Like, I totally made this deck with the intention of it just being the most fun evolution deck I could think of. I know a couple evolution decks have been doing better and popping off a little bit more in the online tournament scene, but I haven't been rocking with them too much. I've played a couple of them. I just don't think they flow in my brain the way I want it to. Like, I don't ever swing generally hard enough, fast enough, and I feel like this deck can change that very quickly, because we've got two attackers that could effectively swing for infinite damage depending on how much energy our opponent has in play. Against a deck like Arch Out, and this could really swing hard if they over-evolve too early with Arch Out and get too many energy in play. And we got Jolteon, which swings for consistent damage very easily and very effectively, and electric is a great type to be right now with the amount of like Luminians and Lugias that you might be seeing in tournaments and on ladders. Now, with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning into the intro. Before I hop into the 3 matches, just a reminder, I got that TCG Player affiliate link in the description down below. So if you're going to TCG Player for any decks, singles, or deck accessories for whatever card game, doesn't matter what, go to TCG Player via my link in the description down below and order anything within 48 hours of clicking on that link. And thank you so much to everyone who's been doing that. It supports the channel in a huge way, and I really can't express how much it means. Now, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning into the intro. Let's see how well Jolteon and Leafeon can do today. Welcome to match number 1. I have no words. I was going to say we're probably up against the Charizard deck, and then Growlithe was flipped over. I swear this is a ranked match, and I'm in Master Ball tier. I think I'm close to RCS. I haven't been playing too much this weekend. I was actually out for the weekend, so yeah, I don't remember what tier I am exactly, but Arcanine at the Master Ball level is still kind of crazy. I was going to say I have an awful hand. I don't know how I'm going to make the comeback with this one, but you know what? I have a feeling that despite a lot of my Pokemon being weak to Arcanine's Fire type, I think we could take it down just because they'll need a few energy in play to use their bottom attack effectively, and we could use Jolteon to swing in, do some chip damage. We'll figure it out. Whatever we got to do, we'll get it going. Now, they pass a 2-turn. We do lead Radiant Venusaur, which is going to be a pain to get out of the active, and our hand is pretty awful. So we're going to use Ultra Ball, get rid of E-Switch and Electric Energy. Honestly, I think here, I might just take the Ogerpon and just double down on the grass Pokemon. I'll get my Eevees out later. I just want to draw cards and get something a little bit more useful in play. I could use Radiant Venusaur as an attacker early on turn 2, which could be pretty sweet. I go attach here, manual attach to active. I can use energy switch to get a second grass energy down on Venusaur, and then next turn it's a manual attach electric, Teal Dance, and swing. For now though, we'll get an early Sunny Bloom, draw 2 cards, and hopefully that's all of our energy. Crispin and energy. I saw a supporter. I'm like, yo, thank gosh, we got a supporter. And then I'm like, wait, you got a supporter that gets me energy. And you know what I have a lot of in my hand and nothing else? Energy. So that is wildly unfortunate, but I am pretty confident that Radiant Venusaur is going to be the star of the match in game number 1, despite this being an evolution deck. We'll see what my opponent has going into their second turn. They got the manual attach to active. If they don't have an Ultra Ball, Arven, Iono, Research, anything that could help dig out Arcanine, I think will be okay. And from what I remember, doesn't Arcanine do more damage based on the amount of damage done to it? Like, I don't think it actually has an attack that's going to be worthwhile right now, which will allow us to get that first attack off. They do have the Ultra Ball. Their hand will shrink down to a much smaller size after this, just 2 cards. They can get the Arcanine, but here's what we'll see. I think it's like Raging Claws or something like that. I don't remember. Whatever attack it is, I think it's like 20 damage plus 10 for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Since we're not swinging for one shot, I could be worried about that later, but for right now, it's not KOing Radiant Venusaur even with weakness. I'm so happy I was able to see the card there. That's epic. It is Arcanine. Okay, wait, did I actually get that right? Raging Claws, dude. 30 plus 10 for every damage counter on it. I play this game too much. There's no way I had that at the top of my memory like that. And they had research to get rid of B-Barrel. Okay, so they got a full hand now, and we are still living on an absolute prayer. They got another Arcanine. Now, we are confusing my opponent. There is a chance they might not be able to pull off the attack next turn. But as of right now, we should expect our Venusaur to get KO'd, which means I'm going to need something huge to clutch up on this hand. Probably won't be with Sunny Bloom since I have a pretty big hand and I really can't do much about it, and I'm still drawing into more energy. This is insane, dude. We've drawn into almost all of the energy in our starting hand. I'll get that Venusaur energy down there, and we get an Arven. You know what? That allows me to play the game. We'll take it. So with this, we'll take Buddy-Buddy Poffin, and let's go Counter Gain, just in case we do fall behind on prizes. I'll use Buddy-Buddy Poffin to get down 2 Eevees. Okay. And then I could smack a Grass Energy on active. Just because... I mean, I could play the Electric on active. We've gotten rid of so many Grass Energy. Like, there's so many in play. 3, 4, 5. Only 2. Actually, it's about roughly the same. I'll throw the Electric down. If I need more Electric Energy for Jolteon, I'll go Crispin. Right now, we don't even have that. And we'll attach this too, just so I can get 1 card off Sunny Bloom, because that actually could be a make or break here. Having a Counter Gain on an Eevee always feels pretty good. It's not like it's a total waste, so that works. And we will use Sunny Bloom, draw 1 card, and it's another Teal Mask Ogerpon, which honestly, with a hand like this, I am fine with. I've got 2 Grass Energy, 2 Ogerpon. I'm drawing 2 cards, and I got a Crispin to get a Grass and an Electric Energy down on hopefully a Jolteon, assuming I can evolve. Now, my opponent still has to attack and flip heads, since they are confused. If they flip tails, they'll take 30 damage, their attack won't go through, and we'll get another turn to use Radiant Venusaur, which is really the break I need in this match. I mean, yes, I am kind of confident that we could still take this deck from behind with this awful a start, but I'm going to need a little bit to go my way for it. And that's either going to be a tails with their attack, or it's going to be one of 3 cards that I draw, the 3 cards being top deck, and then 2 off Ogerpons. Now, my opponent's using another Arven. I'm curious to see what they take. It's either going to be Rare Candy for Charizard or Ultra Ball to go for another B-Barrel. Honestly, if I were them, I would just go B-Barrel, establish the draw engine. You probably don't, assuming they, not assuming, they have 3 cards in hand. They probably don't have the absolute perfect cards in hand to go Rare Candy, Charizard, and B-Barrel with the 5 cards they could potentially have. They got Ultra Ball, EXP shit, that's tough. And I think B-Barrel just allows them to keep playing the game. It allows them to draw through their deck, and I think that could be a bit more beneficial. But if they go Rare Candy Charizard, they could keep applying the pressure, and I mean, you don't really need B-Barrel to draw through your deck if you've got everything you need out of your deck, so, you know, that could work out for my opponent. They get the EXP share down on Radiant Charizard, which will passively get energy when I take KOs, allowing it to take a huge late-game sweep, which could be very, very relevant, assuming Jolteon EX is in my active spot at the time Radiant Charizard would be beneficial. And they go for the attack and fail, taking 30 damage from their attack, 20 from the burn, and 10 from the poison. That is a ridiculous Pokemon checkup phase. Wait, did they not take burn damage? No, they didn't. I'm confused. They should have taken burn damage too. Well, I don't think it'll matter too much. We've got a decent hand. For now, let's go Teal Dance. Actually, you know what? Let me start loading up energy on this Ogerpon just in case. It's a good backup attacker against the Charizard EX, which I know my opponent plays based on this Charmander. That's right here. And we will use our other Teal Dance. Ultra Ball is a huge card to get here. I could definitely get rid of an energy switch. We got Crispin in hand. Okay. Drawing into another energy could be bad if I have no grass energy in the deck. We'll check. We'll check what I got. And we've got some energy left. Thank gosh. So I am going to put the electric energy in my hand. I'm going to manual attach the grass energy to this Eevee right here. Right? Yeah, because then the resident, we evolve this one first, and then this Eevee will evolve by default. We'll manual attach the electric energy. I'll use Ultra Ball to get rid of the last 2 energy. I will take out a Jolteon EX, And then I believe Resident Eeveelution should proc off this Eevee, allowing me to get a... Do I even bother with Leafeon in this match? I don't think so. I think I'm going to go in with another Jolteon. I could get a Leafeon, but with the current state that my board is in, if they go in with Charizard EX, I actually don't need Jolteon to take a KO. I could just promote Teal Mask Ogerpon. So I think just swinging here with Radiant Venusaur is the best play for us. We'll draw 4 cards. There's the burn. Okay. Oh, they might have healed from the burn last turn. Duh. I didn't really pay attention to that at all. And we get 4 huge cards. Okay, this is great. And they'll take 10 damage from the burn, 20 from the poison. They heal again. That's definitely how they got rid of burn. I totally forgot about that, which means we've taken 2 prize cards with Radiant Venusaur. The effects of the attack absolutely clutching up, allowing us to get massively ahead here. Now we've got a huge hand going into next turn. I'm curious to see what my opponent does next. They need Rare Candy Charizard here to pull off an Arcanine attack. Also, just in case people are wondering, if you haven't played Radiant Venusaur before, because it's not very popular, I'd imagine a lot of people watching have not. How the order goes with Sunny Bloom and prize cards on the same KO is when you take a KO with damage from the attack, you have to take your prize cards, and then after you've taken your prize cards from the damage from the attack, you draw up until you have 4. Now, the reason I drew Sunny Bloom before my prize cards was because my opponent's active Pokemon was KO'd via burn and poison. That means that it is the Pokemon checkup phase. So when I take the prize cards, that is still technically my turn, and then Sunny Bloom happens after, and then the Pokemon checkup phase happens in between, and that's when all those status effects would take place. So since that's the in-between turn, I took the prize card, or I took Sunny Bloom because the damage didn't take the KO, then the Sunny Bloom, so I drew up to 4, and then the prize cards because the Pokemon checkup is what killed my opponent's Arcanine. So sorry, that was a little bit confusing. I hope I explained that well enough for people to understand. It's weird how that works, and it's not an interaction that happens very much. I played Radiant Venusaur to a regional I attended. I was playing Arceus V-Star with Royal Bloom VMAX and Radiant Venusaur. Did awesome, by the way. It was a pretty solid, I mean, at least by my standards, pretty awesome regional. Had a ton of fun attending it. If I made the deck earlier than 2 a.m. the day of, I'd imagine I would have had a little bit more success because I was doing my testing with the deck while at the regional, but that was an interaction that I made sure I knew going into the regional, so I didn't get judge called and any penalties. So I consider myself now a pro on the whole Radiant Venusaur effect and what happens when, because it definitely is a bit confusing. Now, we're in an interesting spot here. I've got a solid hand. There is a lot of follow-up I could do. I could use a follow-up being like boss. I could chase down a Pokemon on the bench. Honestly, though, I think I just want to keep getting Radiant Venusaur in the active spot. I want to keep the pressure on with this Pokemon. That's what I was trying to say. It just didn't work. So I'm going to use Arven. I'm going to get Earthen Vessel, get some extra energy from my hand. Prime Catcher is not a bad card to get either. It's just one I don't think I'm going to need right now. I'll get rid of Eevee. I'm fine with the Pokemon I have. I'm going to take the remaining energy out from the deck, and I'm going to use Teal Dance to just fully set up this Ogerpon. That could be kind of a dumb play, but I'm rocking with it. I think it'll work out for us. Night Stretcher is huge. I'll get this electric energy down. I'm going to place TM Evolution just to get it out of the hand. And then I think from here, I'm just going to hold the hand. I have more than 4 cards in my hand, so Sunny Bloom is going to work, but that's fine. I've kind of got some great cards going into the rest of the game. Between Iono, Boss's Orders, and Night Stretcher, that's really all I need. If I need another energy, I could just Night Stretcher back. If I need to gust up a specific Pokemon like Radiant Charizard or something, I got Boss's Orders. If my opponent takes some massive prize card turn and I need to disrupt their hand because they got 40 cards in hand, well, I got Iono too. So I like the position we're sitting in. We'll see how my opponent follows up. They're already down 2 energy. Chances are they can find another energy this turn so that they can try to pull off the Raging Claws attack again. If they flip tails, that is going to spell 4 prize cards taken by Radiant Venusaur. I will keep it in the active, and I will just keep swinging because why fix what's not broke? They get the Magma Basin down, which could get some fire energy down onto one of their benched Pokemon, but that doesn't help their Arcanine in the active spot. Passing here could be very detrimental for my opponent because they are still burned, so that damage will actually come back and hurt them a little bit, since I think we would still take the KO, but we'll see. Now, they need a retreat, a switch, or an energy. They just pass. So we are going to jump a little bit more ahead with Radiant Venusaur. And I swear, man, this really is stealing the spotlight. I didn't expect it. They heal from the burn there, but that's not going to matter too much because I am attacking again this turn. And they have 150 damage done to them. I don't think I want to use Night Stretcher until there's a 3rd energy in the discard pile. Again, I think I might just hold the hand, swing with 90 damage, and then make sure my opponent's Pokemon gets burned again. So I jump up to 260. The burn, they do in fact heal from, but I believe since they're still poisoned, if they leave Arcanine in the active spot at the end of this turn, they will get KO'd, and then I can hopefully clean up the rest of the game with a Jolteon or two. Now, because they didn't, you know, attack last turn, they didn't flip a coin. If they flipped tails, we actually KO'd Arcanine perfectly when it took 3 damage counters from the confusion, but because it was just a burn and it was 2 damage counters, that's why we're the 1 short and we weren't last time. My opponent's got a full hand again. They need some sort of research, Night Stretcher for energy back. They need, well, they did play research, excuse me. They need Earthen Vessel to draw out more energy, Rare Candy Charizard to search for energy. There's a lot my opponent could have to get this energy in play. Magma Basin is not going to totally do it for them. That could set up Radiant Charizard more, but that is not their saving grace right now because, well, I mean, it's not going to be attacking for a little bit, and if they do attack with Radiant Charizard, it's a single prize with Jolteon can take care of very easily. And also, I just realized this now, if you're wondering why my opponent didn't get any energy onto Radiant Charizard from the EXP share, again, it's because we took the KO with damage from one of these status effects, and EXP share reads it has to be knocked out by damage from your opponent's attack. It wasn't knocked out by damage, it was knocked out by the special effects, you know, the mix between the burn, the confusion, and the poison. All of them were very relevant that last time. And the same will happen here. If my opponent just passes for a turn or attacks, or actually they switch so it won't work, but if they just attacked or passed, they actually would have KO'd themselves because the poison damage would have done the last 10 damage remaining needed to clean up that KO. So we'll see who my opponent switches into. They switch into a Charmander, which probably means all they want to do is pass for turn, and I think I'm just going to follow up with a boss KO on Arcanine EX. That would allow me to just clean up with a Jolteon or, what do you call it? Teal Mask Ogerpon the following turn. I kind of like that play. I kind of want to 2-4-6 this deck as cleanly as possible. So we'll use Pollen Hazard one more time, clean up Arcanine. My opponent can use Radiant Charizard to KO my Radiant Venusaur, but that is not going to stop my follow-up KO with Jolteon, which is also very easy to pivot out, since all I have to do is just free retreat into a different Jolteon, into Ogerpon, whatever's needed at that point to help me clutch up the win, I will use at my disposal. We get 2 energy there. That is a manual attached to Jolteon, a Teal Dance with my other Ogerpon, and I think at this point I'll pretty much just have game on board to just like beef my way through my opponent, considering they have not taken a KO yet. Now they do get Arven, which I don't know what tool they would need at this point, but it is Ultra Ball or Rare Candy, whichever's needed between B-Barrel and Charizard. It really depends what my opponent has in hand. Honestly, though, I don't know how they clean up this game. Another EXP share, that's fair. I mean, they got a single prizer in the active, which is kind of nice. I don't have Boss's Orders or Prime Catcher in hand, so if they do evolve into Charizard, it's not something I could immediately take a KO on. But, I mean, we're an Arven away from Prime Catcher. We're a top deck or a Teal Dance away from Boss. Like, we have potential to take a 2-prize KO if they got it in play, but they opted to go in with Charmeleon off that Ultra Ball, which is interesting. I'm surprised it's not a B-Barrel, just to let them draw a little bit deeper in their deck. Or a Charizard, and they were just banking on having the Rare Candy. They do play the Charmeleon from Pokemon Go, as well as the Charmander from Pokemon Go, which, again, this is just straight Zardanine, man. Like, they just loaded into the game. This is insane. I am shocked that I'm seeing this on the rank ladder, but, I mean, hey, I don't mind showing Radiant Venusaur off a little bit. It always feels kind of nice, because I don't get to use it much when I play it in deck, so this is, like, making up for all the times that I stuck it in the deck and I wasn't recording when I actually had a game I could use it a lot. We're getting full value out of that Venusaur now, taking 3 more prize cards than it's worth, and setting us up for a phenomenal rest of the match. That is the Arven needed to get us Prime Catcher. I think, though, I kind of just want to hold it in hand. I think the play for us is to get some energy down on Ogerpon. We'll get another electric energy down on Jolteon, and now I can Rod and bring back some more grass energy, just so I can use those Ogerpons if needed. I don't need to take Radiant Venusaur. I'm not too worried about that guy. I couldn't Night Stretcher it back, but again, I don't really see the point here. Iono 2 doesn't feel totally worth it. Excuse me. I think the best play for us, we'll bench Eevee though. I do have Leafeon in hand if I need to use Leafeon. Now it's an option, it is there. Yeah, I think I feel the most comfortable just swinging. All we need to do is get rid of 1 energy. I will get rid of 1 energy on this Ogerpon here. And that should be enough for KO. Should be 150 damage. Yeah, plus the 40 they've already taken from those Magma Basins will be pretty easy for us to clean up that card. And now we've got Arven for Prime Catcher, which spells game unless they evolve every Pokemon in play, and Jolteon somehow cannot KO it on the bench. And that's even assuming still that they actually evolved into a Charizard EX this turn. which we'll see. Excuse me. I apologize for yawning. I don't know what it is. It's not super late. I'm recording this video at a much better time. I think I just had a long day. I was getting a lot done. I had a lot of schoolwork that I was doing today, actually. I was working on a massive presentation, so I think it's just kind of catching up with me now. My opponent does get the B barrel from their hand in play. They could now start digging through their deck and drawing the needed cards to carry through the rest of the game. They got the manual attached to Charmeleon. Do they have Charizard EX? The Pokemon that will allow them to take their first KO at a time when they needed it, because Lord knows those Arcanines were not able to get going. They got Mela too, okay. That is a super fun supporter to see. I'm surprised they didn't put that energy on their benched Charmander, because they really just needed Charizard, and Charizard should be able to attack for 2 energy. Unless they're playing the Fire-type Charizard EX, in which case I lied, and they might need 3 or 4 energy. They go Moltres, okay, interesting. Still, I don't know what my opponent is going to do that I'm too scared of. They could Magma Base into Moltres, retreat into Moltres, swing for 90 damage, but again, that's just a super easy KO with Jolteon. I think just based on everything we have on board, I think we're chilling, and yeah, they just go for the scratch play, allowing us to take an easy attack KO. Honestly, walked through my opponent's deck. Radiant Venusaur being the most clutch card in the match. We'll get rid of a couple grass energy from their bench. That's the interaction I like having, is just getting rid of energy from Ogerpon. We'll take our KO that way. Closing out 6 prize cards in the time my opponent was only able to take 1. Radiant Venusaur being the MVP of match number 1. Let's hop into match number 2 and see how well Jolteon, Leafeon, and most importantly now, Radiant Venusaur can do. Welcome to match number 2. I took 3 mulligans, so my opponent will be drawing a bunch of cards, and I don't even remember if I'm going first or second. I am going second, and you know what? I really can't complain that much, because we actually got kind of a fire hand. So if I can pull off this comeback against Charizard, 3 mulligans down, that would be pretty sweet to see. Now I've got Arven. With Arven, I'm going to go Buddy-Buddy Poffin plus TM Evolution. I'm going to use Teal Dance to get that energy onto Ogerpon, and then I will manual attach that electric energy onto Jolteon. I also will probably evolve into a Leafeon here. I do like my Jolteon's partner in this matchup. Charizard is one of the most popular decks being played right now. It is in an amazing spot. So to have a phenomenal grass attacker that could swing for Oko very easily is going to be a huge help. And my opponent actually does not do anything with the 8 cards in their hand. That is fine by me. I'm going to take this time to set up and just get as far ahead as I can. So we're going to take a Buddy-Buddy Poffin, TM Evo. I got an Iono for next turn just to make sure I'm keeping the pace. And for now, we will Buddy-Buddy Poffin into double boosted evolution Eevee. I will keep the Resonant evolution and 1 more boosted in the deck just in case I could get him down later. I could pull off another double evolution combo via their ability. So for now, let's use Teal Dance. Let's get a grass energy attached to our active Pokemon. Prime Catcher, not a bad card to draw into, and we'll go in with a electric energy here. So now I honestly, this hand going into next turn is so tough. So we'll use TM Evo, and I will take both of them, and I will evolve one into Leafeon and 1 into Jolteon. So we'll evolve the first one into Leaf. Oh, okay. That's upsetting. I thought I could choose, and I was going to choose to make the other one Leafeon. And I think, you know what? I'm just going to make them both Leafeon. At this point, whatever. That's wildly unfortunate. I wanted to keep one Jolteon for when my opponent inevitably gets a Pidgeot line established. That is the easiest Prime Catcher or Boss KO with our electric attacker into the bird, taking out a massive just search engine, just a massive engine for my opponent, which means I could possibly be more aggressive going into their Charizards. But you know what? Who cares? I don't want to do that anyways. If we got to deal with a Leafeon, or with a Charizard with our Leafeons and no Jolteon in play, so be it. My opponent is going to go Defiance Band on their active Rare Candy into Charizard. And if they get just 2 energy into play with this Charizard, we will be swinging for KO with Leafeon, assuming that we can get a grass energy off of this Iono. I will be knocking my opponent's hand down into a much smaller size with it as well, assuming they do take 2 prize cards here. They might not, though, because they don't have any way to disrupt the prize cards. They're swinging for a base 180 damage, which means that our Ogerpon could potentially live this attack, and they got a whole bunch of energy into play here, which is great. We needed 3 energy in play to make sure that my Leafeon is swinging for KO on their Charizard. And that's exactly what happened. And they got a 4th. Yeah, we'll be alright. They got 4 cards in hand. They use Burning Darkness. They do not swing for KO. Unless I top deck a Grass Energy, I'm not even going to bother, though. Okay, I was going to say I'm not even going to bother Ionoing. This works perfectly. So we are going to take 2 Grass Energies out from our deck. I'm going to attach 1 to Leafeon, and I'm going to use Teal Dance with the other. I'm going to retreat it. I'm definitely not going to Prime Catcher. I want to take out their active if I can. That's huge. Do I want to play it, though? It could allow my opponent to get Pidgey, but you know what? I'm kind of looking for a Pidgey. Give me the Pidgey, man. I want another Eevee. What? I don't mind taking out your birds. I've got an electric fox. I'm assuming, like, they're all fox Pokemon, right? I'm not tripping. I don't know. Well, someone will yell at me about it. I know there's a lot of big Eevee fans out there. I can't say I'm necessarily one of them. But for now, Leafeon is going to do its thing and take some massive KOs off Charizard, allowing us to take the first 2 prize cards, which is ridiculously huge. Now, next turn, my opponent definitely could follow up with a clean KO on Leafeon. They're doing 240 damage. If they didn't use that Defiance Band early, they actually could have swung 270 very, very easy. So there's a chance Leafeon could tank a shot here, which would be awesome to see. And there is that Pidgeot. So I think the idea for our match, how we want to take them out, we want to KO. We just KO'd a Charizard, took 2 prizes. I'm going to try to KO another Charizard, this one right here, take 4 prizes. And then I'm going to use Jolteon and take my 5th and 6th prize on the bird once they evolve. But, of course, we'll see what's in store for us. My opponent only took 1 energy out of the deck, but it doesn't matter because they've got 4 energy in play. Even without that manual attached, they would have had 3 energy. And this is insane. They have not played a single support... No, they played 1 Arven for a rare candy, and now they go Iono. Okay, I was going to say, they haven't done anything, and they got 3 Charizard EXs out. Still, that is insane what they had in hand, and an energy switch there feels so good, too. They could use Duskull and Dusknoir to KO my damaged Ogerpon, but that's a risk that I think I can deal with all right. I don't think they'll clean us up too easy. As long as we could set up Leafeon and Jolteon, I think, you know, we'll manage. And we got an energy switch, so I could set up a backup Leafeon this turn, just in case they somehow get another Defiance Band and KO my active, but I don't think they're going to. I think they're just going to swing here 240, which means I'm going to clean up with Leafeon. I'm going to start setting up my Jolteon in the background. We got time. We got time. We got effort. We don't need much effort to set up the board state we need for the KO. I might not even need Fez this matchup. I might not even need the extra draw. I'll keep the Nest Ball. Honestly, might get Radiant Venusaur just for some draw to get into a bigger hand next turn because we're going to use a lot of the cards in our hand this turn. Briar's huge too. Ooh, yeah, it feels good. So I really don't need an Artazon here. I don't need another evolution. I kind of want to save the 2 last spots for Fezandipiti and Radiant Venusaur. Let's go Arven. What do I want? Give me Ultra Ball maybe? And TM Turbo Energize, which I can get rid of. Pretty fine. Let's do this. Right. Yeah, I like this. Okay, so we got an Ultra Ball in hand to get out of Jolteon, just in case. We're going to go Nest Ball. We are definitely going to take out Radiant Venusaur here. My hand is going to fall pretty short. Or become pretty small after this. We're going to Vessel away, TM Turbo Energize, and then we're going to take out 1 of each. Because then I can manual attach to Eevee, use Teal Dance, Energy Switch onto Eevee too. Or you know what, I could take out 2... I probably don't need a Grass at this point. Because we KO their active. Although setting up another Jolteon just means we KO Charizard when we see Charizard. You know what? Give me the Grass. Give me the Grass. Why not? They might not get an extra energy in play, but you know what? At this point, I'd rather set up a backup Leafeon. And if we don't go boss on Pidgeot, we don't go boss on Pidgeot. I don't necessarily have the hand to pull it off. We get a Crispin. That's so perfect. So now I can set up whatever Pokemon I need in the back end. We'll throw this Grass Energy onto... You know, let's just keep setting up the Leafeon, man. I've already built this game off Leafeon. Let's keep it going. I can Crispin to Eevee next turn. I got Ultra Ball to get rid of whatever my top deck is as well. Actually, no, whatever the Sunny Bloom card gives me, so I can get out a Jolteon. We'll have enough energy to discard. All we'll need is that Prime Catcher. For now, though, I think we're just going to swing for KO, and this is what I was talking about the Radiant Venusaur play. We are taking our prize cards before Sunny Bloom, so I actually won't be able to Sunny Bloom this turn, but having it in play, I thought my hand was going to get a little bit smaller. Felt pretty good, and that's perfect. That Arven is Prime Catcher as far as I'm concerned. So if they go Dusknoir this turn, they'll put us down to 1 prize, and I will make sure that I clean up whatever is left on their bench since they will have 2 energy down. We'll see if they got their Rare Candy Pidgeot and Rare Candy Dusknoir. No, they just got Dusclops. That's fine, though. That's 2 prize cards. They can use that to KO my active Leafeon. And then who would I even promote after that? I'm not sure. But if they do take a Pokemon off this Artazon, that is going to be my Prime Catcher Leafeon's target. And they take out another Dust Skull. Okay, well, we do 60 damage per energy that they have in play. We're doing 120 damage if they evolve Pidgey into Pidgeot. We won't be able to KO this, but this little ghost, well, that ghost will spell game if they do pop the Cursed Blast Dusclops and go for the 4 prize card turn, and it seems they are going to. It seems they are going to KO either my active or my benched Ogerpon. I think the better play for them would be to take out my benched Ogerpon and then KO my active and take 4 prize cards this turn. Again, I don't think it's going to matter too much. We got what we need. Yeah, it's exactly what they're going to go for. They'll take 2 prize cards here. I don't think it matters what they evolve into. As long as they don't Iono or Unfair Stamp or something like that, we've got game. There's a chance my opponent could pull it off. But it wouldn't be the end of the world. If they go Briar, they'll just fall down to 1 prize card. Yeah, I don't know how my opponent digs himself out of this hole. I am happy, though, that we did set up a Leafeon. Leafeon is going to clutch up the rest of the match. And remember, Prime Catcher does switch one of my opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot and my own. So I am going to promote Eevee here. Just so I could use the Prime Catcher Retreat. I don't have to worry about getting an energy in play as well. That could be very problematic since I got none in hand. So we'll throw Eevee up into the active. Unless we top deck Prime Catcher, we're going to go Arven for Prime and then call it a game right there. So we will take out our A-Spec. Bring up the Pidgey. I planned on killing a bird this match, and since you didn't evolve, my plan is not changing. I want the bird to fall, and we'll go Verdant Storm for 120 damage and walk through match number 2. My opponent had a solid comeback. They took 4 prize cards off a huge turn. We just got a little bit too far ahead and kind of had the perfect cards we needed in hand and in play to make sure that we had a clean line to finish up the game. So that was a solid match number 2. Let's hop into match number 3. We are 2-0, and let's see if we can clutch up the perfect record with Jolteon, Leafeon, Venusaur. We've used Leafeon, we've used Venusaur. I think next match it's about time that we pray somehow that the stars align and we can actually use Jolteon, which this deck was built around. Welcome to match number 3. We have a decent hand if we're going second, but you know what? I'll take it. It's a hand is a hand, and that actually makes everything so much better. I'm not even kidding. We just needed 1 Eevee down so we can evolve next turn. I'll get down my Ogerpons. I feel a ton better after that. Now I can pass it on over to my opponent. I'll most likely have to Iono next turn just to see what I draw into. Having E-Switch Electric Energy in the hand is phenomenal, so I can ideally retreat into Eevee. Whether I evolve into Jolteon or Leafeon will be determined based on what my opponent is playing. It's another Charizard deck, which again just feeds into Leafeon being a solid deck right now. I can pull off the next turn attack if I get 1 Grass Energy, and you know what? My opponent's going to Iono, and 2 out of 3 of the puzzle pieces I needed, which was the Energy Switch and the Leafeon, are back to my deck. And I somehow got all 3 cards I needed the following turn right back. I got Ultra Ball, Energy Switch, Earthen Vessel. I got Arven from Buddy-Buddy Poffin. You know what? I'm not mad about this Iono. This Iono is fine by my standards. We'll be able to pull off the KO just fine, and my opponent establishes a crazy bench here, which is cool by me. I think we still need to go Arven for Buddy-Buddy Poffin. I want to try to get out 2 Eevees evolved this turn. Another Energy Switch always feels good. You know, I guess I don't have to evolve immediately. I could go like Prime Catcher and take out. I don't think I have enough cards to discard though, because then I wouldn't. You know what? Let's slow down. Let's play the game before I think about doing anything insane. Let's take Buddy-Buddy Poffin. TM Evolution we are definitely not using. You never know what sad world I might need to go TM Turbo Energize because I misplayed or something, so I'll keep that in the deck for now. And I'll go Buddy-Buddy Poffin. I'll just take out the Eevees needed to get evolved, start getting active, because setting up is more important than being aggressive. You know what? I'll take both Eevees here. I'll keep this one in my hand to Ultra Ball away. We're going to Vessel, get rid of TM Turbo Energize, take out 2 Grass Energy from the deck. I definitely want to go Leafeon. You know what? I could take an Electric Energy. Use that as my manual attachment. Then I got an E-Switch for Leafeon too. This works. This works fine. Okay. Okay, let's go Teal Dance. Get another Grass Energy attached to the active. We'll Energy Switch from this guy. We're swinging base 60, so I am taking the... Actually, no, I don't think I am. I think I need Jolteon. Don't I? I'm going to check. I do have Nest Ball. Oh, I've got Ultra Ball, though, to pull out Pokemon. Alright. First things first. Let me retreat. Get a boosted Eevee in the active spot. Now I need an Ultra Ball 2 cards away. Having Nest Ball is kind of phenomenal for Radiant Venusaur. We are kind of bench locked from it. I think Fez is going to be more effective here. I'm going to keep these cards in hand. We definitely need these a little bit more. And I'm going to check. It's 60 per energy. It's not base 60. Duh. Okay, so I actually do have to go Flashing Spear. I do actually have to go into a Jolteon, which is fine. I can use Resonant Evolution on this bench Eevee, get that guy going that way. So we'll get a Jolteon evolved here. We will then proc Resonant Evolution, which means now I can get a Leafeon. Okay, I knew we had a KO somehow. I just didn't math my maths. My opponent got no energy in play last turn, so obviously we couldn't swing for KO with Leafeon, which is probably better. So now my opponent will KO a Jolteon, which means Leafeon can clean up whatever Charizard is in the active spot. We'll swing for 60 damage. Take a prize card and move on. We've got Fez and E-Switch in the hand too, which always feels pretty good. If my opponent takes a KO, I mean, that's just a very, very easy Fezandipiti draw 3. They promote Charmander. Right now, they're swinging for 210 damage. They're still a little bit off. If they go Boss KO on Ogerpon, that actually would fix a lot of problems for us, because then I can Fez anyways. And keep my Jolteon in play, and especially with Boss's orders in hand to take out a Pidgeot EX, not Charizard. We need Leafeon for Charizard, Chris. Good job. Way to use your brain. You know, we got options. We got options going into next turn. And I think this is why this deck is so much fun going into Charizard, is we swing for weakness on both their Stage 2 Pokemon. And they get 3 energy down, so if we could just set up Leafeon, Leafeon's also taking a KO on Charizard EX, and all we need for that is 2 Grass Energy. We need 1 to Teal Dance, and 1 to use Energy Switch. Or that would be the same. The Teal Dance would be the Energy Switched energy. We need 1 to Teal Dance and 1 to Manual Attach. Good job, Chris. Way to think. And my opponent is swinging for KO on Ogerpon. This is kind of what I was hoping for. So now, you know, we're a little bit more open on which Pokemon I want to KO. We can promote Jolteon, it's got a free retreat. They did not evolve into Pidgeot, which means I actually might want to go Leafeon this turn. And we get a Grass Energy down now, which is huge. Okay, now I got Flip the Script and Teal Dance live. We just need another energy, and I can pull off this play. Just like that, we're hitting it. I didn't even get to use the Teal Dance yet. Fine by me. Let's get a Energy Smackdown on Ogerpon. Rod doesn't feel too bad either. Don't totally need to use it right now. I'm going to keep my hand, actually. I'm just going to attach the Electric Energy to Leafeon. Just for fun. Just because I also need more Grass Energy for a follow-up Leafeon or an Ogerpon KO, potentially. Because Ogerpon could still deal with Charizard very, very effectively. We'll retreat for free, which also allows us to have a phenomenal backup attacker for when my opponent does get a Pidgeot line established. And we'll swing 360 here, taking 2 prize cards off Charizard. Now, my opponent did take the first 2 prize KO. And we are actually... that could be fine, because then we'll get access to Briar. We are on an odd prize card, so right now my opponent cannot use Briar. Take it 2 energy there. Perfect. That is awesome. Kind of exactly what I want to see. So I could use Teal Dance, Manual Attach to Ogerpon, just start loading up energy on Ogerpon. Leafeon would then be able to deal with the Charizard EX, and Ogerpon would be able to deal with the Charizard EX, assuming I could get evolved, or excuse me, all my energy attached in time before they truly get evolved. And they are getting a whole bunch of Pokemon down on their bench. None of them are Fezandipiti, though, so my opponent's hand is locked unless they got a good supporter, which is good. That's good for us. They could have a B-Barrel. I kind of like seeing the B-Barrel back in Charizard. Just a TM Evo build of Charizard is always pretty strong into Badoo. I think it gives my opponent more options into a lot of other decks. Sadly, doesn't give them many options into this one. No matter what Pokemon they got in the active spot, there is a great chance we're swinging for weakness damage. And they just pick it up there. They had nothing to do, which means we were swinging for base KO. We would have had 2 prize cards left. My opponent would have been playing a massive game and catch up at that point. I just don't know if they had it in them at there. You know, like, based on what they had down. So, hey, 3-0 with this combo. And I have to say, I am in love with this combo. I think these 2 Pokemon pair so perfectly together. I think this might be the strongest evolution deck that I've gotten to play so far. So yeah, definitely give it a shot. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed making this video, and I cannot wait to see you guys in the next video. With that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay epic. Peace.